everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to another episode of Geek for Cheap. That show where I tell you about sales and discounts going on right now that will help you to experience that geeky thing that you love for as cheap as possible. And recently a fan on Tumblr asked me what were the best books to come out from all new, all different Marvel's last big relaunch. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, then you know that I was actually really positive on all new, all different Marvel. I actually thought there were tons of great titles in there, but if you want to get into these books, it's kind of expensive because the trade for every single one of these issues is going to cost you about $17, $18, $19, $20 each, except for this week. This week on Comixology, you can get the first trade from many of these books for only $4.99, $1 more than just a regular issue or the same price as most of the books that Marvel puts out. Seriously, Marvel, stop charging $4.99 for your books. DC is putting them out for $2.99 right now. Try and match that for the love of God. But as I said, until the 25th, they are discounting all these trades down to $4.99. They have 24 different trades up there for just $5. And there are so many good ones to jump into. I'm looking at them right now. I don't even know where to start telling you about these books. And many of them aren't even on Marvel Unlimited yet. Marvel has their own subscription service where you can read many books digitally, and it's a great program. I recommend it to anybody who wants to get into a lot of older books, but these are some newer ones, and I don't think that most of them are up there yet. So if you guys want to jump on these books now, I'm just going to go through and give you a couple recommendations from them. First up, Invincible Iron Man and Doctor Strange. These two books are huge. They're changing a lot of things about Marvel Comics. So if you just want to know what's happening with these series, this is definitely a time to pick them up. And if you want them in physical form, you can only get them in hardback now, which means that it costs more. So for a $24.99 book that you would have to buy physically, you can get the digital one for $5 right now. That's a great deal. All new, all different Avengers. I love the Avengers. I've been a fan of them ever since I was a kid. However, for the past decade, since Brian Michael Bendis took them over, they have felt completely different. They have not felt like the Avengers I loved. This feels like the most Avengers book that I have read ever since that happened. So if you want an Avengers book, check this one out. When people come into my store and say, hey, I want to start reading Avengers, this is the one that I give them. Because the Kurt Busiek one is like $100, so I'm not going to try and push that on people. This is the one I recommend to them. Captain America Sam Wilson. Oh my gosh, is Captain America Sam Wilson good? I cannot recommend this book enough. I know a lot of people out there is like, yeah, but I like Steve Rogers. And hey, nothing against Steve Rogers. I'm not coming in here and saying anything's wrong with Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers carried that shield for a long time. However, the Sam Wilson book, that's the Captain America book that we need right now. They bring up so many real-world issues, both political and social, that need to be addressed, and they find a great way to fit it into this world full of big, bright superheroes. This is that Captain America book that we need for today. Oh my gosh, is it good. That is one of my highest recommendations of any of these books that are on sale. Next up, Mighty Thor. If you've been a fan of this channel for a long time, then you know that when I made my top 100 books of 2015 list, Mighty Thor was #1. I was blown away by that issue #1, and the series has continued to be great ever since then. I'll admit there's a lot of stuff from the previous Thor series that you kind of need to know to understand everything, but it's still a great book for brand new readers, and it is slowly building up to a huge, giant, massive event. I know that on this channel I tend to poo-poo the big, giant events, but that's because they never feel natural. This one feels like it is slowly building very naturally. It has got a great build up to it. I love seeing all the different pieces that pop up as this story comes along and how they're all going to interact. And also, I love Jane Foster as Thor in this series. We get to see what it's like being Thor from her point of view, but she's not the Jane Foster that you know from the movies. She is actually at the moment in the comics dying from cancer, and you get to see that massive comparison between what it's like to be sitting there in chemotherapy and to be the most powerful god in existence. It's a great contrast, and the way that Jason Aaron describes that feeling of going through chemotherapy and of dealing with cancer, you can tell this is coming from a very personal place, so I highly recommend that book. Next up, during All New, All Different Marvel, the X-Men books have been a little, very hit or miss, and that's for many reasons that I won't go into in this episode. However, All New X-Men is still pretty darn good. I have really been enjoying All New X-Men. For anybody who doesn't know, All New X-Men follows the original 5 X-Men who have been sucked from the past to the present, and they've basically seen how badly their future selves screwed over the present, and they just looked at that and went, yeah, screw this. We're not going to go around and follow your lead and just do all the stuff that you did that just screws everything up. We're just going to go out there and try and help people. We're going to travel on a cross-country trip around the world and just try and help people wherever we find them, and we're just going to live our lives and be us. And honestly, I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the way that these characters have been portrayed in this book. Also, speaking of mutants, Deadpool is up there, and I've really enjoyed the new Deadpool series. He's basically become famous and super rich because just like in real life, in the comics, Deadpool has become a smash hit. So he has now started franchising himself, and he's created the Mercs for Money, which is a bunch of D-list Marvel mercenary characters who he's having dress up like him to go out there and be Deadpool. And it's been a riot. I have loved that book. Next up, speaking of books that never fail to make me laugh, Astonishing Ant-Man. That book is hilarious. It's all about Scott Lang, who he's just trying to get his life together. He has screwed up too much. He's trying to open up his own security business, and he's hiring all these ex-cons on there, and of course they're going to betray him. But at the same time, there is a brand new app that allows supervillains to hire henchmen, and he's trying to investigate it, and there's two companies that are basically competing over it, and he's kind of caught in the middle of it. It is hilarious, but at the same time, it is so human. Like, you really do get a sense of how badly Scott Lang has screwed up his life, and you really do feel for him. It is a great book. If you want something that's a little bit more lighter, a little bit more upbeat, I recommend Patsy Walker Hellcat. It took a while for this book to grow on me, but eventually I realized they're trying to make this like Archie with superheroes, and the moment that I started looking at it like that, I really enjoyed it, because I looked at it and went, oh my god, you're totally nailing that. That's exactly the tone you're going for, and I gotta applaud you for being able to grasp it so well. And of course, last book I have to talk about, Spider-Woman. Any chance I get to talk about Spider-Woman, I have to. This is one of my personal favorite books. I'm not going to go in here and say this is the absolute hands down best, but just as a book that really speaks to me, the Spider-Woman series is amazing. It always knocks it out of the park. This is a series that stars Jessica Drew, one of the most lovable curmudgeons in comics, and the first storyline of this new series shows her pregnant. She is about to become a mom, and her best friend, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, she says, listen, you've got weird spider powers, so your kid might not be able to be handled by a normal doctor. But I run Alpha Flight, which is our big space defense system, so I know an alien hospital where they will be able to treat you right, take care of you, and everything that could possibly come up. So why don't you come to my hospital? Trust me, it'll be great. And after she just keeps hammering it into Jess, Jess just goes, oh my god, fine, I'll go to your dumb space hospital. She goes to her dumb space hospital. The second she gets there, all the gateways are closed down and Skrulls invade, and now Jessica Drew, 9 months pregnant, has to find a way to save everyone in the hospital without putting herself or her unborn child in danger, and it's Die Hard in space. I can't stress that enough. This first storyline is totally Die Hard in space. That's the exact feel that it has. That's the exact way that plays out. I enjoyed it so damn much. Man, seriously, that, Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Mighty Thor. Those are my 3 biggest recommendations, but there are so many great books to pick through, so go through them, find ones that you like. Also, I should point out, this is not part of All New, All Different Marvel. I don't quite know why it's there, but also the first volume of Christopher Priest's Black Panther is up there as well. I think this one was a typo because the ad says up to 75% off. This is way more than 75% off. That's like a $34.99 book. Again, you can get it for $5. It is a thick book. If you are a fan of Black Panther, the Christopher Priest Black Panther series was that one that made him a star. That's the one that made everybody look at him and go, oh shoot, I thought he was just some supporting character on the Avengers, but I guess he's a really big deal. I guess he's a real badass. And yeah, he's a total badass in that series. I really enjoyed that series. Only thing I have to warn you about though is that it was made back in the 90s. It's pretty heavily 90s. It's got a couple of things in there that they don't translate that well to modern time. Like, if you were not alive in the 90s, you're going to read this and be like, oh my god, this is what people were like, and that's kind of what people were like. But yeah, aside from the fact that it does feel kind of dated, it's still a great book, and oh my god, is it a big deal right now. Is this a huge sale on that book? But there you go, there are my recommendations for this sale, but as I said, there are so many good books to pick from there that you can't really go wrong. So just find one that speaks to you, check it out, enjoy it, because as I said, this is a great sale. The link for it is in the comments down below. As I said, you only have until the 25th. So until the 25th comes around, if you guys want to share this all around the web to let other people know, that would be great. It would also really help out our channel. We're almost at 10,000 subs. That's huge. I know it's all because you guys have been sharing this. So thank you so much, and come back next time. Bye.